Hello, everyone. Welcome to Spirit Switchboard. I am your host, Kerrilynn Shellhorn, and you are listening to us live on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 in the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in beautiful New Orleans. If you are liking what you are listening to, please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing out with all of your friends. And you can head to uprntalkradio.com to find out more about all of the hosts here on UPRN, all of the shows. There is something for everyone, and there's always new shows coming on board with the network. A huge shout out to Michelle DeRoche, our station network manager, and our owner, Joe Montaldo. Thank you so much for having me part of the UPRN family. I'm pretty excited about today's show. I had Asria Beckham on. Some of you may have seen the segment. If you haven't, please head into the archives to watch it. And it was mind-blowing for me. I had thought about and talked about alien DNA. I had a guide come in when I was connecting in with one of my kiddos when they were younger, and had forgot about it actually. And having Asria on helped me put some connections together. And during that conversation, the conversation about cosmic lineage, and we hear a lot. The buzzwords right now are about generational healing and generational traumas, and doing a lot of healing work around that. And it came up in the conversation with Asria, and she said, I've never had the opportunity. And I'm like, well, I am going to hook all my family in. I'm going to rope them all in and let's see if they say yes. So my mom was so gracious and said yes, my sister and my niece. So this is going to be a 3-part series that Asria has graciously agreed to do. So we are doing round 1 with my mom today. Next week, my sister and my niece will be on. And then our 3rd week, we're going to talk about what do you do with it? Now that you have some knowledge, how do you integrate it, process it? What does it all mean? So we're going to find a little bit more about it today. So I'm going to say hello to everybody that's in the chat. It's the long weekend here. I don't know if is it the long weekend where you guys are listening and chiming in from? You guys have plans for the weekend? Randy Zahara, thank you so much for being here. And Sandra, Kelowna, BC, happy Labor Day weekend to you guys too. Heather Stewart McLaughlin, thank you so much. Folks, Heather is going to be a guest on Spirit Switchboard in 3 weeks, so mark your calendars. She is going to be our guest talking about all the wonderful things that she has to offer on her beautiful property. James Grar, thank you so much. Wiz is in the house. We may get going with that conversation, so I'm glad you're here. You always keep me on track in making sure that I stay on time with things. Julie Dow, thank you so much for being here. Laura Lee, I almost did an SOS text, but things turned out okay, so I'm glad you're here in the chat. Thank you so much for being here. Jody Nez, thank you. Good evening to you too. Hi, Heidi. I'm on Meta, almost got stuck scrolling, then saw you. Oh, I'm glad that you got here. Oh, Jody, your son is in a weightlifting competition. Woo, good luck to him. Thank you for watching and chiming in. Happy Labor Day weekend to everyone. So I would like you all, I'm going to introduce you to my mom. I'm going to bring my mom out first. Terry Forbes. Oh, joining in from Norfolk. Thank you so very much. Hi, Mom.
Hello.
Everyone, this is my mom, Cheryl. Mom, this is everyone. Whole network. So my mom, I'm in Guelph. I moved here, I don't know, 26 years ago or so. But we're from Northern Ontario originally, and that's where my mom is calling in from. She is in Sault Ste. Marie. And I know that you were very nervous about coming on the show, but I appreciate you stepping outside of your comfort zone and popping on to do this with me. Everyone's saying hi, Mom. Everyone's very excited. Everyone's saying, oh, and Laura Lee's saying, big welcome and hi from Thunder Bay.
Mm.
Oh, thank you, Gail. So Gail Willis is Lucky Paranormal. She is Lucky Paranormal. Her and Mel from Thunder Bay, they are hosting the Lake Superior Paracon this October 16th. So we are excited to be a part of that again this year. Thank you, Randy. Hi, Kerrilynn's mom. We can see why Kerrilynn is so darn cute. You love everything about our like ancestry and genealogy, and you have been interested in it for a long time. Like once you start talking about it, you are fascinated with who we are related to, doing all of that research, and you've been doing it for a number of years. You want to share a little bit about that journey with us?
Not as I haven't done as much lately as what I should be doing. I do it in spurts now, but it was interesting when your family doesn't really know anything.
Yeah.
When my dad basically didn't know anything. When I asked my aunt what my grandmother's name was, she said Grandma.
Oh,
she didn't know what her name was.
Was that Aunt Vera? Aunt
Yes.
Vera's the grandma? Yeah. But we learned so much. Like you ended up finding out that we were related to Abraham Lincoln.
I did. That was a surprise when somebody messaged me, because the Aylesworth family is quite well documented. And it was through someone in that family that messaged me and sent me the chart to show how we were related to Abraham Lincoln.
That's wild.
Through a grandfather named Obadiah Holmes, who came from England to the United States. He was a minister, and he's very well documented because he was a pastor that was persecuted.
Oh, why was he persecuted?
For his religious beliefs.
Interesting.
And so Abraham, that is a grandfather of Abraham Lincoln, and he's also our grandfather.
Interesting. And so I love that. I love talking about it, and I know that it's not truthful, but the whole the book and the movie about Abraham Lincoln Vampire Slayer makes me giddy. And so that's all I can think of when we talk about Abraham Lincoln Vampire Slayer. I can be down with the grandfather.
I passed on that one.
I know you don't watch
horror, but I did watch the movies. I did watch the other movies and read the book.
Yeah. But it plays a part when we know what about our ancestry and our the stories, the drama, the traumas. It trickles down to us energetically, physically, emotionally. We carry all of those burdens. And I've talked about it. I talk about it a lot, about the energetic aspect, right? So we can do whole healing, physical, emotional. We see our doctors, we see our therapists, but the energetic part is also important. And it never even dawned on me to think about the energetic frequencies, a DNA frequency to star family, until I had Asria on. So I'm really grateful that you are being a part of this journey so that we can see how it plays out for our family and how it's all connected. If there's similarities between you and Christy, so Christy is my sister, and then when we have Maya on, so that generation underneath us, right? Let's come back up. Oh, hi, Mort. Thank you so much for being here. Mary Jo Peach, thank you so much. She is saying hello. Sorry, there we go. She's saying welcome, Cheryl. Joanne Belisario, thank you so much. She is saying happy Friday. Welcome, Cheryl. It's nice you can join us today. James is My friend who is in Washington, up on the mountain with the Sasquatch. Hello, Contessa Martins. Thank you so much for being here. And hello to your mom, she says. Oh, so Randy is sharing Sandra is really into researching ancestry too. That is so cool. Her great uncle is Lord Admiral Nelson. Teresa Loft, thank you so much. It is going to be a great evening. Okay, so let's bring Asria out and let's introduce her to everyone. So, intuitive researcher, founder of Ascension Through Connection, Asria Beckham. Thank you so much for joining us again.
Oh, no, it's an absolute pleasure. And it's an absolute pleasure to meet Cheryl as well. So thank you so much for allowing me to read you both. And I'm so excited to be sharing and starting to talk through this as well, because I've never, through the work, done a whole family unit. So I'm dead excited, and just thank you for the opportunity.
I was really hoping that one of the boys, because I'm interested to see if that changes the dynamic, but you never know. Maybe before that third segment, we might coax one of the boys into this. Oh, there we go. I was waiting. Hello, Tia Bean. Hello. Thank you so much for being here. She is saying hello, Kerrilynn, and your lovely mum. Julie Dow, great to see your beautiful mom. Agreed. Thank you so much for giving her such a warm welcome. I appreciate you guys helping me in my excitement have my mom here. It is very exciting, Heather. I agree. So, Asria, for people that are just meeting you for the first time, if they missed, could you give people a little bit of your background, a little bit of what you do and how it came to be?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. So, as I said, my name's Asria. I'm based in the UK. Grew up in London, from the 80s, 90s, etc. And I really, from about a very young age, I think my earliest memory is around kind of like 5 years old, something like that, of being, like most people are coming out now, around being that little bit different. So being aware of spirit, being aware of energies, being aware of like our elementals. I was the kid in the playground who would rather stare at the rose bush because she could see the fairies in it than go and play and make friends on the gym.
Right.
So as I was growing up, I did have some amazing mentors and teachers, etc. Around me. One being, if we're talking about kind of like ancestry and family, my great grandmother, who I had the absolute privilege of knowing until the age of I was about 10, 11 years old. Because I think with my ancestry and history, I think it's about 5 or 6 generational psychics. So I'm still within kind of like that lineage as well, if we're talking about sort of that family background at the moment. And that's something I only really found out quite recently as well. So Cheryl, as you were saying, around the finding out about the physical background, I mean, I knew like my great grandmother was, because that was kind of like my saving place. Is when I went there, I used to talk to her, and she didn't look at me as though I had 3 heads.
Right.
But anyway, if I'm skipping forward a few years, after, as I said, doing psychic readings and dowsing, divination, and that over the years, as well as obviously having various other careers and things, I would say around 15 years ago, I started to ask a lot more questions, similar to the ones that you were asking just now, Kerrilynn, around what makes us up? And bearing in mind, I had already, as I said, been working with my own spirit guides and that for quite some time. I then had the most amazing experience of meeting one of my star being guides. Literally, it was like a hologram who just appeared. And from that moment on, that cemented, okay, this is kind of like the work I will be doing going forward. And it was asking questions. And then I don't necessarily call it channeling, I call it transmissions, because it's as the information is being transmitted and pushed down. And as time was moving on, I was getting more and more information. And that then, I didn't actually bring it to hand. But if you look at the last program, was the unifier. So it was a large selenite crystal. I started to use the large selenite crystal because, as I said, in the past, I was doing lots of dowsing divination. So having a large crystal at the end of a long copper wire. And again, I was starting to play and move around with tuning into individuals, obviously with their permission. And
can I ask a question, Asria? Sorry.
Field. Please.
Was it important that it was selenite? Like, why selenite? Can you explain?
Yeah, absolutely.
What made that crystal the right crystal to do that work?
Yeah, well, selenite is very much used as far as I understand it, and I'm happy to find out even more. Is that it's a crystal that is used very much off planet, like we use, say, wood or a knife and fork or something like that. And also it carries a lot more of the frequencies. It also is kind of like self-cleansing, self-regulating. It also works very well with copper, like most crystals do. But it's something that not only we are familiar with, but they are familiar with. So it's kind of like something that's in between. That's the way I understand it. I'm sure there's a little bit more to it, but as my memory goes at the moment. But as time went on, it was then, again, this was over a 5-year period. This wasn't kind of like something that happened overnight. I was working with this crystal and my guides and tuning into the different frequencies and starting to pick up on the frequency of the particular of all the different beings. And I'm sorry, I've just seen the comment in the chat where it said the unifier was called the unicorn horn. Yeah, there we go. So I'm sorry, it just caught the corner of my eye. I hope you don't mind.
So Laura Lee Potvin is my friend and co-host of Beneath the Hollow Moon. She is the host of the Angel Rock on Mondays, and you have been on Laura Lee's show as well too. And so either show you did bring on the crystal to show people, and I know yes. Laura Lee has one as well too, and she does call it the unicorn horn, and that's what it looks like. It is spiraled out and comes to a sharp peak at the top, right? I love using
it very much is. Yeah. And I think that, and so over the years, I mean, this has been the most extraordinary journey because, as I said, it started 5 years ago, and even in the past sort of few months, the unifier has kind of taken a side seat because I've kind of become the tuning fork, if you like. So able to actually sort of using myself as the radio, if you like.
Right.
So actually tuning into people's energy field and changing the frequency and picking up on what are the most dominant frequencies of those particular beings within that etheric field. So where I was using the unicorn horn, and where I was using That very, very much so. It's almost as though I've now become, some of the UK viewers might laugh at this, but I've become the tool. I'm going to be careful how I actually say that. But
it's a muscle, right? The more that we do this, that muscle grows, and we are that tool.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's kind of how it's been evolving. So, but the main reason and the main purpose for this is going back to what yourself and Cheryl was saying earlier. It was asking the questions of what actually makes us up. Because yes, we know we can like do math swaps and things and send that off to a lab and find out that way. But surely, if we're talking about us being star seeds, star beings, and having that connect and having those connections, where is all that information held, and how can we utilize that? And so that was the initial question.
Mm-hmm.
So after I said using the unicorn horn, the unifier, for such a long time, being able to pick up those frequencies of those various races of beings, it's a triangulated approach, because in my neurodiverse head, having just one answer isn't good enough.
I feel that.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a three-stage approach. So first of all, it was the movement of the unifier. Depending on how that moved is depending on what being it was. Second of all, it was the feeling that I got. So, for example, with a reptilian, my whole body would go cold. If it was a feline, all my hairs would stand on end, and so on and so forth.
And that's so true. Like, regardless of any guide, even your physical family, like if you fall asleep, you're in a turkey coma after Thanksgiving on the couch and you're half asleep, and a family member walks in, you know who it is on their frequency. Yeah. You just know who it is. So our spirit guides are the same. So it makes sense to me what you're saying, that each of those different off-world frequencies would feel different to you as well too.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. But it was kind of learning each of those and how to pick up on those. And then the third thing, so I said it's a triangulated approach. They got the two. And the third one is I come to start realizing that I was working with a much larger team of beings, which I now know to be called scholars. Remember, out there, labels and names really don't mean too much. But for me, it was important to refer to these group of beings as a collective. I said it started off when I first was doing it 5 years ago. It was about 2021. We're up to now about 82 different ones. And the third within that is I would get one of them would step forward. So that would be my third. Yep. There we are. That's the third. It's the feeling, it's the reaction, and it's the image. Moving away from the unifier, I don't necessarily use that and look at the movement. It's purely the three. It's the feeling, it's the reaction, and it's who steps forward, which gives me my clarity of that being, that frequency of that being in your field.
So you would be creating like a whole database of these different frequencies and different races and beings of off-world beings. And Laura Lee was just, I think that's where she's going with this question as well too. What happens if you discover a new off-world being you're not familiar with without the unifier?
Yeah, that has happened. Thank you for the amazing question. That has only happened once so far, because the couple of beings that I didn't know have been with unifiers. That's an amazing question. It's only happened once. And what I asked the client to do is that I could go back in at least another 2 times. It's just so to find out and to ask the questions and to find out a little bit more and see if I could project the image that what I was getting onto a paper, or sometimes even to ask for a sound or a name. Because remember, a lot of the names are more like sounds rather than like, I know, Bill or Bob or whatever the case may be.
Right.
To this day, we're still looking into exactly what it is. And I know there's some, again, amazing work out there by Elena Denan and others. So again, it's cross-referencing, it's finding out exactly who these beings are, because we're learning all the time, constantly. Because this universe is huge. So and even when we're talking about individual race of beings, within those, there's different races. Sorry.
No. It's great. Thank you so much for sharing so much of your knowledge and experience. And I love that we're all still growing, that we're in this place of saying we don't know all the information, but we're learning as we go. And so that was my question, was if they, the more that they come in, do they share more of what the qualities are for that particular group of beings?
Yeah, and one thing to also look at here is that we're looking at the three different levels. So when I start looking at, and I start, as I said, tuning in. So as to which are the dominant frequencies, so which are the higher ones, so which are the radio stations that are really easy to pick up.
Right.
So those are the dominant ones. Then we go down to the next one, which is the second dominant. And then which are the detected ones? Which one can I just about hear? And then that gives an overall blueprint to that person of those frequencies and those beings that are within their energy field that they can actually start utilizing, that they can actually start using their free will and saying, right, yes, this aligns with me. This feels right to me. If it does, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It might not necessarily feel right at the time. And that's when we can start using, start tuning into those more.
I think, so there is some noise happening in the background, but I think it's just all the fur babies. Contessa is saying, I keep hearing voices in the background. Is it just me? And Sandy, thank you so much for being here. I think it's our fur babies. Is anybody else hearing it?
Mine's in the other room.
Is it Bentley, Mom?
Well, he's walking around the floor. I can hear his nails on the floor.
So Bentley is like the sweetest Shih Tzu dog in the whole world. He's so sweet. I just love. You heard a shush. Oh, interesting. So we'll have to put headphones on and listen to it later and pick it up. But it's not unusual for us to have EVPs happen while we're doing shows. I'm okay with that. It was in the background when Asria started. Oh, hello. Hi, Victoria. So Astrolight Paranormal is in the house. I saw a few people coming in late. Cindy Waghorn, no worries. Tanya Martins, Denise Mitz. Hello. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Sorry, we'll get this up. Hello. Oh, well, to craft. Have fun crafting, Diane. Thank you so much for being here. Oh, hello, Jackie. So Jackie White is here as well, too. Warm welcome to you, Cheryl, she says. Mom, do you have any questions for Asria?
No, the only thing that crossed my mind, I was thinking about when you're doing your ancestry, you get 50% from your father, 50% from your mother, how I wondered how that might be this work in what we're talking about, like for star beings, like you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a really great question, because when we're talking about the energetics and the frequency within that etheric field, and I'm just going to take one step back, if I may. So when we're looking at it from a soul level, when we're talking about, as you were saying there, Cheryl, around the part from your mum, part from your dad, that's more of a physical.
Right.
That's kind of like the human body part. So, but when I'm talking about this work, it's from an energetic perspective. So within our within our soul, we have several energy layers. I kind of see them as an onion. So, our soul, to me, this is how I see it, it's kind of like the brown, the outer shell. So some people say they're star seeds, so their soul was created in a particular star system, and so on. But we can go down that route another time. But within that particular area that I focus in on is the collective frequencies of the beings that we've been in contact with through our, I'm going to say, lifetimes, because obviously time is a human construct. Before we came to this planet, before we came to Earth School, and we decided that we were going to have these contracts and do our lessons and all that kind of fun stuff. And so we have had contact with other beings within that time off this planet and on. And so, and as I think, Kerrilynn, you were saying that we do pick up so much within our energy fields and over time, but we do that on and off planet. So what we're doing here is we're linking in with those beings who we've been in contact with previously. We're linking further into our support team who have been with us both on this planet and off. Because I think in this day and age, it's very, compared to say like the 80s and 90s, the way that we're evolving as multidimensional beings and multifaceted beings, we're finding out more and more and more what our bodies, what our energies, we're actually capable of, and what we can then tune into. And this is just an element of that. I know that there was a lady that you had on the other day, and I'm quickly looking at my notes and I can't find her name. Roland, I think, the 12, the activating the 12 levels of DNA, which was absolutely fascinating. It would be amazing to have a conversation with her as well, because again, that was from both a scientific perspective and an energetic as well.
Right.
And I think this work kind of leads into that, because again, it's bringing it all together to say, right, this is the human, this is the soul, this is the energy. How can we bring that all together to have these multi-dimensional, multifaceted beings work to their highest and best potential?
Yeah. And I would say at the beginning of this journey, kind of stepping into the out of the woo closet, and not doing hair anymore and doing this full time. And probably 3 or 4 years into it, I was having a lot of issues when people in spirit were coming through that had any head-related traumas. It was like really making me very sick. So I tapped in and I asked Archangel Michael to download the DNA blueprint for my healthiest body so I could process those energies with more grace and ease. And it really literally felt like I was, when you're swimming in a pool in the summertime in the heat. So it feels like a bathtub underneath, but the air feels cool. So it felt cool up here and warm, but it took about 3 days to process all of that. And then I didn't, like, literally I would vomit immediately and I would go, okay, got brain cancer. So like, you know, I didn't have to get sick anymore feeling all of that stuff. So I feel having had that experience and other experiences makes me more open-minded to understand that there is this whole other support team of people and family through a cosmic lineage to help us understand that DNA overlapping. I don't know, the layers of DNA. I don't know if that I said that right, but do you know what I mean? Jelly bean. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Because it is that we are very much interconnected.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, I can't remember who said it, but I think a few people have it, in all fairness. It's over time, we have not necessarily lost, and I'm kind of searching for the right wording and terminology here, so you have to bear with me a second, but we've lost that connection. We've lost that understanding and ability to know. It's going to sound, as you said earlier, a bit woo-woo, but just exactly what we are and what we're capable
of beings of
and
light.
That's why, as you said, using your intuition, using your intention, that you asked for that help and support and guidance and healing and etc. And that amazing thing happened. Absolutely.
Contessa's just saying, Kerrilynn, you are so knowledgeable about all of this. Well, learning curves. How did you know you could ask Archangel Michael for your healthiest blueprint? Honestly, it was because I got to that point of frustration and said, okay, this shite's not working. If you need me to be of service, I'm willing to do this work, but this isn't working. I can't continue doing it this way. So it's just leaning in. It's just leaning in and giving them permission. And that was when I really understood that our star family, our cosmic family, have probably been waiting. It's no different than when Archangel Michael was waiting, probably tapping his foot. When's she going to figure this shite out and start asking me for help? So those cosmic family is probably doing the same. Good Lord, took her long enough to hook in. But then once you do, it's magical. And some interesting things have been happening when I started talking more after my existential crisis last summer, talking about aliens. But it's shifted my whole world this last year. Get ready, Mom.
Yeah, and I think that bit is key around free will.
Yes, we still have free will.
Yeah, it is absolute free will, and they won't necessarily come in and start doing X, Y, and Z without asking. Mm-hmm. So we have to put that out there first, because on this planet there is free will. So and again, by providing that blueprint to say these are potentially the the beings that you could be linking in with, if they align with you, that you could actually be asking for help, because that is part of your star family, your star lineage, where you're actually connected to. That you can be saying, actually, you know what, I'm down here, I need a little bit of help, please, to do X, Y, and Z. I call it making a shopping list, or like ordering at a restaurant. You don't say, oh yeah, can I have some more money, please? You're like, okay. It's like going to a restaurant and saying, well, can I I'd like to order pasta.
Yeah.
Well, do you want lasagna? Do you want meatballs? Do you want carbonara? Kind of, you need to be a little bit more specific.
Yeah. It changes everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Deborah Hackett-Jones, my lovely friend, thank you so much for being here. Folks, if you have if you have not, I think, Deb, you've been on twice, right? Spirit Switchboard twice, and you can access those shows. Deborah is an amazing intuitive and medical intuitive and healer. So you can tap into her segment and take a peek at that. Jackie Collins, thank you so much for being here. Deborah is sharing, yes, it's all about frequency and meeting them on the same level.
Wonderful. Yeah. Brilliant.
And that, how you work, actually how Deborah has explained how she works and how you work sound very similar in being able to see from a different perspective, almost like the whole blueprint and how it's laid out.
Wonderful.
Laura Lee is sharing, so essentially, Asria, you can then connect in with the off-world family we come from, that we resonate with, to help and become part of our team to help with the work we do with others.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But it's also then what we're doing. Yeah. So helping with ourselves in order to help others. It
literally raises our frequency.
It does very much raise our frequency. And I think another thing that it does as well as that question was saying, is that and one of the things that I've been hearing from my clients time and time again is that it gives them, as I said, I don't use the word like activation or anything like that, because everything we know we have, it's remembering. A lot of it is about remembering. It's bringing forward those feelings. It's bringing forward those memories and those emotions. So where we, like, for an example, think, well, yes, okay, well, I am clairvoyant. So maybe if that being has got those abilities, we can tune in and dial into that and increase it. You might then have on the opposite hand, I know that there's been a couple of mermaids recently, both from Sirius B and from Lumeria, and the people that the clients who I was reading for always had a love for the sea. They never understood why, because they never actually lived by the sea. But again, there was something within them that had that calling. I mean, I can talk about small things like that or much bigger.
Right.
And it starts answering the questions. Why was I always able to do X? Why do I have a like or a dislike for X, Y, and Z? Because again, it's just helping answer those questions and tune into those abilities at a higher level to help yourselves and to help others, because we all are, as I said, ascending and raising our vibration as a collective. So thanks for that.
So we're going to respond to a couple of comments, and then I'm going to do the station ID, because once we get in, I'd like to start with my mom's findings first, if that's okay. Contessa Martin, so are they, our guides from the off-world, similar to our spirit guides, or are they different? I think it's all part of the same, is it not?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just bigger extension of our spirit guides and soul family, and who we're meant to tap into and as our support team.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's language, right? It's coming the language that we've used to this point to include our off-world beings.
Agreed.
Deb Morse, thank you so much for being here. She's saying, regarding the star family, any experience with light language, which is sort of kind of like speaking in tongues, yet very, very light and clear tonal quality? Yes, yes, and yes. I know for myself, that is something that has kickstarted when I did my past life regression. So very much communication and tonal frequency rather than human language. Asria?
Yeah, it's incredible. I only started mine a few months ago, and it's so powerful.
It is.
Really, really is very, very powerful. And I said it's there for healing. It's there for communication. So yeah, I would certainly advise anyone and everyone to do and try. In the beginning, you sometimes feel like a bit of a fool, kind of making all these like different sounds. But as soon as again it's tuned into and it's that muscle that's working, it's beautiful, and your whole being feels it. It's incredible.
And it's a knowing. You know what you're saying. You know what the message is. It's
Very
just
good
coming
point,
through on a different frequency. Oh, my friend, Ali Prefontaine, thank you so much for being here. Ali was on the show as well, too, talking about Tombstone, Arizona, which was a lot of fun. Oh, your cat. Deborah's saying her cat loves light language. So I'm just going to thank you so much, Laura Lee, for listening back to those whatever extra voices and sounds that we have happening in the background. I'm going to do the station ID really quickly, and then we can start tapping into some of the findings that you discovered. So thank you so much, everyone. If you are just listening in now, you are listening to Spirit Switchboard. I'm your host, Kerrilynn Shellhorn, and you are listening to us live on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 in the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in beautiful New Orleans. If you would like to know more about the hosts and all the shows that UPRN has to offer, you can tune in to or check out their website at uprntalkradio.com. All of the shows are listed. All of our hosts are listed. There's always new shows, something for everyone. It's not all high strangeness and paranormal. There is a little something for everyone. So please take a moment to check all of that out. This week, tonight, we are talking with Asria Beckham. Her website is Ascension Through Connection, and we are talking about our cosmic lineage and our cosmic frequency, alien DNA. That's the right way to phrase it. And we were talking about generational frequencies, or what we're discovering. We're on a path of discovery. Would that be the right way to put it?
Oh, 100%. Beautifully put.
Yeah. And on that path of discovery, my mom just agreed to be a part of the journey. Which I'm super grateful for. Yay, Mom.
Yeah, so I'm a guinea pig, yes.
Yes. Yes, and I appreciate it so very much, Mom. I appreciate it.
But I have to say, years ago, Kerrilynn and I had astrological charts done. Mm-hmm. And the finding of that was that we are mirror images of each other. Mm-hmm. So what she is on the outside, I'm on the inside, kind of thing.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. That was very interesting.
It was interesting. So because
I'm not that talky.
I was just going to say that.
Maybe on the inside, but not on the outside.
Now, I feel that's not necessarily true, because I have spoke to people that you used to work with who I don't know who they were working with, because it wasn't my mom that they were discussing. Your mom is so funny. You even had a nickname. They called you the Shoe, and they went on and on about how funny you were. And I'm like, are we talking about my mom? So there are moments of that shine through, Mom.
Okay.
I think so. Yes, Sandy Cordick, let your light shine. Exactly. I do every once in a while. I am hearing what you guys are hearing too. Everyone in the chat is saying there's like an extra female voice, but mm-hmm. And so thank you so much, Denise. Denise is saying, how cool, glad that you are here to share. So maybe we can start with my mom's findings. Asria, if you are ready for that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I said it was an absolute pleasure, and I'd just like to say to the listeners as well. I mean, I know I've met before, Kerrilynn, but I've never met Cheryl before. We didn't even meet before or have a chat before or anything like that. So, but before the show, and it was a really really wonderful energy to have picked up, very soft, even before I said we were diving in there, but it was really lovely to do. And I'm going to look down occasionally because I've just got a few notes from before. So the main being that I picked up for yourself was the Andromedans. And I think I sent across, a picture just to give the viewers maybe an image. If you want to use it or not, that's fine. So with them, again, they are a being that are very soft and comforting in nature. There was one or two other points that I just wanted to mention as well. I mean, we can go depending on how much detail you want to go into as to sort of where they come from, the Andromedan galaxy, etc. They operate within 5D to 12D, etc. But I think the most important things maybe to mention, and I'm happy to take any further questions on the back of this, because as I mentioned before, is that this is kind of like just a level 1. So this was the most dominant DNA. So this was the most, frequency, I beg your pardon, that was coming through as I was tuning into that energy. That's beautiful.
Is this the correct one?
Thank you. Yeah, no, that's stunning.
It is
again. I try and work with AI as best I can from the being that gets presented to me. So these are very, very tall. They're about 9 foot tall beings. But I think the most important things that I'm being asked to mention about them is that they're very easygoing. Sometimes struggle to communicate through conflict, are very creative. And I know you said earlier about doing some crocheting and things. One of the things that they do utilize is sound. Sorry, Kerrilynn.
Oh, I was just going to say, Mom, could you confess to how many quilts you've made in the last little while?
About 110.
110, folks. Hand stitch quilts. Should anybody need a blanket for a gift, or Christmas is coming up, I will drop the email address. Actually, you can all email me at kerrylynsporch@gmail.com if you are looking for a quilt. My mom has a few that she's got up for grabs. And they are stunning, folks. My mom is a perfectionist when it comes to the quilts that she makes.
Oh, that is beautiful.
So when we
that brings in the comfort element and the creative.
Yes, it does.
But they're not works of art. My quilts are quilts that are meant to be used.
They are works of art, Mom. They're stunning. Stunning.
That is beautiful. That is really beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Or anything that is created by hand, anything that has been time and energy and love put into it. But that's more from me. But I mean, before I go on, have you ladies got like any other questions or anything like specific that maybe I could answer in regards to that?
So what qualities do people from like these Andromedan beings, and how would we tap into them? How would she tap into them?
So really the main qualities that we were looking at, as I was mentioning before, is that they are very kind of like easygoing. They are not necessarily like in conflict, are very creative. I think the other main abilities is, and it's the same with a lot of the beings, is maybe like the telepathy. But one thing that did really was coming through quite a lot was sound and sound healing. So not necessarily you doing it yourself, but maybe something that will resonate with you going forward. So I don't know, maybe when you do like quilt making and things like that, if there's a certain tune or songs or something like that that you listen to while doing that, or maybe as time moves on, you may want to kind of look at the sounds and the frequencies and that are around you. That is a very open-ended question. So how long have the Andromedians been around on this planet? For over 75 million years. So they were one of the first, I believe, that they were one of the first seeders or first arrivals. So you had the elementals, and then you had the Marians, Atlanteans, Andromedians, and one or two others. So as for this planet, pretty long time. I mean, a lot of them left and then slowly coming back through the star seeds around about the 1940s. But again, sorry, I'm kind of going down another rabbit hole there.
No, I am taking it all in, everything that you have to share. Deborah Hackett-Jones is sharing, I was told that I am from Andromeda, the planet of Naboo, and she is sharing, I work with sound tuning forks.
Oh, that's beautiful. So an Andromedian starseed. That's beautiful.
Denise Smith agreed, usable, cherishable works of arts are the best. And I don't remember having purchased blankets growing up. My mom always made quilts, my mom and my grandma. Contessa Martins is asking, are these beings here now amongst us?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, I do too.
I believe that there's certain races of beings that have been in and around us for quite some time, but as I said, now that the overall frequency of the beings and planets is heightening, we're becoming more aware of them. I think one of the ladies said before in the comments around the overall frequency and vibration, and said that's why we're becoming more open, more aware of them. I think there's certain places on the planet where there's more, but again, that's another rabbit hole. But certainly, I do believe that they are on planet already. Some races, not all.
Sandy Cordick is sharing singing bowls, maybe as an option. Mom, what do you sound? Music, tuning forks, any of that?
When I'm working, when I'm making my quilts, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I just put on the music on the TV, a music station on the TV.
And puts you in a zone. Hello, Mish. Thank you for being here. Mish, meet my mom. Cheryl is my mom. And we are here with Asria today. Good day, Kerrilynn's mom from Australia. Mish is saying, Mom.
Wonderful. And I did want to also say that when within the tuning, and now I wasn't going to go down to a second dominant, and I didn't, apologies, Kerrilynn, I didn't provide an image on this one, but what we're actually finding within the work as well is that the second dominants are slightly, there's a similarity between clients of when they have a dominant of one being, that the second one sometimes is very similar to the second dominant. And that was very telling with yourself, is that we also had avians in there. So I don't know. So they're more like the bird type beings. So I don't necessarily know if kind of, and it was in particular a raven, like a raven type being. So I don't know if that aligns with you at all, or if you Certainly it was the avian beings, and now they're linked to wisdom and transformation, and they do very much carry the bridge between worlds. But the most important thing that I really picked up with them are they're more observers. They don't necessarily put themselves forward and act and do. They are the ones that just sit back, take in, and just observe everything that's going on, but will then communicate right at the, oh, sorry, I don't know why I clicked there, right at the right time. Maybe if I click, get rid of some of those energies that are around me at the minute, and the lady who's talking. So she's now
How do you respond to that, Cheryl?
There we go. How does that sound to you, Cheryl?
Because that's how I see myself usually.
Oh.
Yes. Agreed.
Yeah.
Wow.
Agreed.
There we go.
You tend to be that, and you are the go-to person, right? So you stay calm in the middle of all the crisis. So whenever there's a crisis, everyone calls you, drive to the hospital, show up at the hospital. You're the go-to because you stay calm.
I was better at that though when I was younger.
Wow.
Now that I'm older, I'm a little more emotional.
I think that's what happens though. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that either. I'll pull this down. Can we pull is it okay to take this one down?
Yeah, sure. And this is what makes my heart absolutely sing, is that when these beings get confirmed and that blueprint is starting to make a picture, i.e. for yourself, Cheryl, with the Andromedans, yes, there was one or two things in there, but it was really the avians that and please correct me if I'm wrong, that resonated more. So thank you for confirming that. That's what really makes my heart sing in doing this work.
Oh, the Andromedans did too, but from my perspective, knowing my mom.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That's all kind of new.
It is. But now you get to, when you're listening to your music or you are starting to go into that non-thinking mode when you are doing your perfect 5 stitches on your needle when you are doing your quilting, you can ask those guides to step in a way that you can feel what their frequency feels like, so you know who they are when they step in with you. Like when you ask to connect your frequency to theirs and theirs to yours, you start to feel them in your space more. It's just like opening up the door and giving them permission, and then it unfolds more from there. Is that right, Asria? Does it work that way?
Yeah, absolutely. But certainly I did feel a bigger energy pull, because as I said, I put it down here, may mention. So because I said it was the second level, and I haven't done that for everyone, but they did come through kind of secondary as quite powerful with the avians. And I would very much recommend, again, following on from what you were just saying there, Kerrilynn, is that maybe, I don't know if you sit outside when you do this or what the weather's like, but if you do have that pull to kind of like work with our feathered friends as well, that there is also that connection there too.
Is there a connection to
so
feathered
you can
friends?
set out your intention in your mind to connect with them too. And by all means, please do, if you feel that you want to. I'm not telling you what to do, but to have a look into these particular beings a bit more. I mean, I've just mentioned just a few points there because I was just very conscious of time and how much I can talk. But as to how much detail we're going into all these different beings. So if there is anything else in particular that you find that might resonate, that absolutely, as Kerrilynn was saying, use your free will and to actually then start saying, yeah, actually, would like to do a little bit more of X, or I like that ability. I'd like to tune into that a bit more, because having those beings and having those reactions to that blueprint that I've started to lay out, that is within that toroidal field and those frequencies that are already there of those beings. I feel, as my clients have said, it's something a little bit more tangible than going, well, who's around me? I really hope that helped, Cheryl.
What do you think? Processing.
Yeah.
But you are a bird person.
Well, I don't know. Usually, because when I see, because there are some ravens around here, but usually when I see them, I just think of my dad. So
Yeah.
it's usually, hi, Dad, for whatever reason.
Talk to them a bit more.
Mm-hmm. Contessa is
I
asking,
welcome
do
you.
all humans come from out-of-world families or off-world families? Contessa, I did do the station ID. I probably just said it really fast, but I did do it. I did it. Thank you for reminding me. But she is asking, do all humans come from out-of-world families?
How I believe it and how I see it is each of our souls was created in a star system somewhere.
That makes sense.
And we have then, throughout time and space, decided that we were then going to come down to this planet for whatever reason. So that's why we're saying that a lot of people are star seeds, because their soul was created within a certain star system. Sorry, could you remind me of the question? I've gone off on one of my tangents.
If we all have off-world family connections or off.
So in short, yes. There are some people who might not necessarily be as open to that, but I strongly believe that yes, because we were all made, our souls were all made in a star system. I mean, we could go down another route as to there are some meat sacks bodies that don't necessarily have a soul. You could go down the route of the much younger souls, but again, that's talks for another day, maybe.
Lilibel is saying, I've heard that Pleiadians have extra collagen that gives them bendy noses and ears. I can fold my ears and they don't hurt. I also have a squishy nose that doesn't hurt. And Mish is saying, same here. Anyone else fold their ear and squish their nose?
That is amazing, Lilibel. Thank you so much. I have no idea, but that is a fun one to explore. That is so... I love it.
I've never heard that, but that's pretty fun.
It's a squinch your nose or bend your ears. I'm more feline, so I'm not sure. But I will ask a few of my clients who I know are very much their dominant is Pleiadian as well. So thanks for
Sandy
that.
Cordick saying you too. That's so funny. Mish, you are so funny.
It's always these fun bits as well. I love it.
Mish is saying my partner
we're
reminds
always learning, always having fun. Laughter is the best medicine.
Mish is saying my partner reminds me of a little tough rooster. Oh, having had chickens, eh, Mom? Those tough roosters get a 2x4 as you're going into the pen.
The little banty ones for sure.
The banty roosters for sure. Sorry. Hi, Fiona Clark. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you. She's saying great show tonight. Heather Stewart McLaughlin. Let's pull this up. I have an Arcturian guide that reached out to me and I work with. Would that indicate a familial connection?
Yes.
And
yes, that absolutely would.
Contessa was asking, how do you
say that would be a connection off planet? Sorry.
No. I thank you for, I interrupted you. How do you find out which family you come from? You make an appointment with Asria. Ascension Through Connection.com. We did that. Thank you so much. Yeah, and that just is amazing. The thing about folding your nose or flipping your ears, like, and this is what I'm saying. There's all these things, right? I did a session for somebody like many years ago, about 15 years ago, and their kiddo was having these experiences, and when I tapped into it, he came from a planet that was really, really dry. So he used to like be thirsty all the time, and he'd wake up in the middle of the night scared that he was needing to drink more, and it was because he came from this off-world planet and had this energy attached to an off-world planet that was very, very dry. And so that was a quality that he brought in. Like it's
yeah, and we're finding out more and more of these as well. And yeah, thank you for sharing that, because I've got a similar story as well. There was one of the beings, it was either the Nahas or the Bills, and the lady who I was talking to, when you were saying about the dryness, always had to have an air purifier going. And again, she couldn't really understand why. And also, I just wanted to say that there's more of this happening, because when we had a look at where those planets were, again, it was a very desert type planning. But the actual being had two different kind of like nostrils. So one would sort of take in the air, filter it, and then breathe out. So it took all like the sand and that out. So that's why the air purifier to them was perfect, because they could feel all the little bits in the air, and it would sit on their chest.
interesting.
And no, I mean, there's loads of these types of stories as well. There's others that can really stand hot climates. They live, say, like in England or something, but actually thrive in much, much warmer climates. But again, yeah, if you look at the planets that their dominant DNA comes from, again, we could probably do another whole show on things like that as well. It's absolutely fascinating.
When we talk
Are there
about
particular beings that would be healers?
Yes. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you would have the Pleiadians, certainly. You would have there's a particular feline and lion race who are very much kind of like the mothering, healing type healers as well. There are a few, but most have their own healing modalities.
Laura Lee is asking, do you find that the individual you're reading for physically can have some of the physical characteristics of their off-world main being? I mean, for example, someone Pleiadian has some of the physical characteristics that are there, can be seen in the human as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I had an amazing gentleman the other day. And his main one, which we very rarely get, was amphibian. And I didn't, obviously, because we do video calls, I didn't really see his hands. And it was only towards the end when he thanked me. I was like, his fingers were there. It was so long and thin. I mean, I know I've got short, chubby hands, but they were really and you get people who are taller. You get people who might have a slightly more elongated face. Again, going back to what Lulabelle was saying, sometimes a difference in nose structure. There are, and I know it's becoming more and more common. I can't think of what they are off the top of my head, but there are certain physical characteristics that are becoming more and more common, especially when we're looking at star seeds as well. There are, as you said, maybe like in hair color, if they're more sorry, I lost my train of thought halfway through there, but yes, in all honesty.
Shall I pull up the other image?
Yes, please do. This is your one.
Get ready. Okay. Let's see. And I must say, I am pulling up these photos and I'm not freaking out, and I haven't made a mistake. So I could be tooting my own horn a little too soon and jinxing myself, but so far I'm doing pretty good.
Wonderful. Okay.
Laura Lee is saying 2 things you've just mentioned as you explained so much about 2 of my family members. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you. Okay.
There it goes.
So again, this is my AI interpretation of an Atlantean. Now, I don't know if that resonates with you at all, Kerrilynn. And I think that the points that I would like to maybe raise on this one is how can I say this? It's more, I said, you've got the empathic nature, you've got divine alignment, you've got that they're guardians, teachers, in-dimensional peacekeepers. You've got that, they are very much healers, keepers of the language, and spiritual teachers.
Wow. Yes. Yes. Yeah. A lot of work though, right? And you know what's interesting about that? It's for a long time I have felt like not wanting to be here, right? And not in a way that I would self-harm, but just done, feeling kind of tired and done. And so I go, I'm ready to vibrate off the planet, folks. And that's the phrase I would use. I'm ready to vibrate off the planet. Like, why aren't you coming to get me? Because I'm ready to vibrate and go. And that's how I see the Atlanteans, as having vibrated, raising their frequency so high and then not being here, elevating to that other dimension. And that's what I... yes, the Larimar ring. Yes, Deb. Yes.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's indeed what they did. As you said, it kind of got to a point, and they were like, "No, we're going, we're off." So, that very much resonates there. I think the other, I mean, there are links there, obviously, with Lyra, because that's obviously the constellation that they come from.
So I've had a Lyran, I believe a Lyran guide, come in and speak to me during, I don't know, it was a weird meditation. It was actually during the in between lives meditation, or in between live session that I had, and a Lyran, am I pronouncing that correctly?
Yeah.
Came in very strongly for me. And that's when the light language started shortly after that. In that session was weird.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it was interesting. It was another existential crisis moment afterwards.
Sometimes we kind of get to that really, really, really fine endpoint, and then they go, right, let's turn this around. I can certainly speak from personal experience as well.
Can you speak a little bit about the Lyrans for me, please?
In regards to what, sorry?
Like, how you shared about Atlanteans and their qualities and characteristics?
So I think the main one that would come through for yourself would be kind of like that the mothering instincts, kind of like that feminine quality that's coming through as well, kind of like that whole nurturing quality. Certainly there are, but again, the main thing I'm getting through with the Lyrians as well is that we need to remember we're talking about, and this is the same across the board. I'm kind of getting a bit of a telling off here to a point, because as much as we're talking about one race, it's almost saying, okay, right, well, you're a human being, not you're a human being, but you're Asian or you're African or you're American or you're whatever. Because actually within each of these beings, there are different sectors, there are different races, and for especially the Lyrians, what I'm getting through quite strongly is that more nurturing side for yourself at the moment, Kerrilynn. When you asked me that question, that's what I was like, well, what? How can I best answer this? And that's what came through right now.
Thank you for sharing that. There was a question about, like, when you are creating the imagery for the guys that you are seeing, do you see them with those skin tones, or is that how AI is interpreting the information you're giving them?
A bit of both. There are, over the years, I've kind of built up a little bit of a image library, because it's not sometimes always the same being that shows themselves, as I was saying about the different races and sectors of being. So the way I see it is the imagery is open to interpretation, and I'm not that great with AI in all fairness, and I don't necessarily want to use other people's images as well because of copyright and things like that. So It is my best interpretation through using technology.
There was just a question about the skin tones. Like, are there many?
Yes, there are. Sorry, I misunderstood.
With that blue skin tone.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, and that's where I was saying that there are different races within each being. I mean, you can. I think it's there was a book written back. I think it was in the 1940s, where, and I can't remember the name of the guy, and he actually lays out the different colors of skin. Well, what we would class as skin for the cedar races. And I think even like the Lemurians is what is coming to mind, had yellow, black, and another one. But the way in which we see them and the way that we are understanding as a race at the moment is through the I'm getting the words direct translated imagery.
Like, agreed. We all think Asria is amazing.
Thank you.
And this, I feel the work that you do is very important because there's so many people that are very scared of, like, because of media and scared of off-world beings or scared of aliens, very frightened of even having the conversation or dipping their toe into the concept of, right? And I feel having these kinds of conversations and discussions is helpful for people to let go of some fear-based ideas or belief systems and be open-minded to a different perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the more open we can be, and it's like, as I was saying at the beginning, I mean, we are all still learning. I'm still learning. especially through the work in which we're doing. But the key that I've learned, and I think you were referring to it earlier, Kerrilynn, is that does it feel right for you?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could be saying stuff now, and there could be people that are going, yeah, okay, that's fine. And then there might be some people that are going, yeah, that really aligns, that really feels right. Or you might be watching another, say, YouTube program or whatever about the Lyrans or whatever and going, actually, that doesn't, no, I don't agree with that. That doesn't sit right with me. And that's perfectly fine.
I would encourage them to say yet. That doesn't resonate with me in this moment or this, because there could be other things that need to come into play in order for that to resonate, and we don't know all of those things.
Yeah,
because we had Mom. I don't know. Did Corey talk to you? So Corey is my brother, folks. I'm the oldest. So yeah, he's the next one underneath. So did Corey talk to you about when he saw that bright light of something and was on his bicycle? It was behind behind a barn from the neighbors when he was out on his bike, and he was like coming home to try to get his camera to go back and take a picture of this.
I don't really remember. I kind of vaguely remember, but that's all.
Mm-mm. I think that if we did, it would be interesting for you to do some past life regression or a life between lives session too. Maybe we need to do, yeah.
I did do a past life regression once.
Did you?
Yes.
Shucks.
Actually twice. Once it didn't work.
Fascinating. Fascinating. I want to know more.
Wow.
I know.
Yeah.
I want to know more. So I feel like, because when I had Joe on, so Joe Montaldo, the owner of our network, who has ICAR, so he has researched experiencers, abductees, alien connection for like 30 years, more than maybe. And he has said it's generational and within a family line as well. And so my sister and I have had these discussions when I had my existential crisis last summer, and I was texting all my family going, hey, do you kids remember this shit from when we were younger? Like, so it would be interesting to see if you have memories from you being a kid, like in Kingston or in the Sioux, and have memories that are maybe tucked away that you've not remembered about star beings or experiences as well. Maybe. You want to know? I also heard a fascination with owls, that a lot of moms have a fascination with owls too.
No, the reason I asked about the healing, because I have this feeling like at some point I was a healer.
I think that if you get it, then
in a past life, I think I was a healer at some point, and I don't know where I'm getting that from.
Do we need to know why, or do we just accept that as a piece of your soul pushing that memory forward for you to remember and then just roll with it? That's a question open for discussion.
The one thing that I would say, and that's following just from what Kerrilynn was saying, is that with that feeling of being a healer, and the Andromedians certainly have got their own methodology around healing, but sometimes when we get that through, so I'm just seeing what's coming through now, is that it's raising the question like you have just done now. is that if that's maybe something you would like to explore further, because just because we were doing it in a past, potentially doing it in a past life, or potentially one of the beings that are in our frequency was a healer or is a healer, I think the question is that something that is resonating with you now that you would maybe like to pursue? And I'm not asking the question for you to answer it now, not by any means if you're not comfortable in doing so. But I have, again, had clients who have felt a need or a push or a question very, very similar to what you just asked there, Cheryl. So I think it's really a great point around if that question or push does come, whether it be a healer or a clairvoyant or whatever the case may be, is, as we were saying before, with the frequency of the planet changing, and with all of it, with us as a collective heightening our own frequencies, I said these things are much easier to flow forward. These are much easier to connect with. So maybe that's why at this stage in time, it's kind of going, this is what you were. This is what is in you. This is possible. And we mentioned earlier, which I'm being reminded of the healing bowls and healing sounds, because I do feel, again, and it's good that you asked now, that there is that healing element, and it's come up 4 times within our conversation so far. So maybe I do feel that there is something there to latch onto, because I said, just because it's been done in a past life doesn't mean you can't do it now. I hope that helps in some way.
Sandy is sharing maybe it's your guides pushing you forward or planting the seed. Laura Lee is sharing, and Joe has a survey of people with green eyes, red hair, and Rh negative blood. I don't have any of them, but my mom has all 3, and I have weird off-world experiences.
I have to let the dog out.
Okay, Mom. Lulabelle is saying, question, I have, how do I pronounce that? Session? Session? Ceition? Session 2?
Yeah.
For high dimensional being, is it more challenging to work with these beings when they are from a higher dimension?
Yes. So Lulabelle is amazing, and I was lucky enough to do the reading on Lulabelle and the Setons. Sorry, that took me a minute as well. So the Setons are a very higher dimensional being that very much came through as one of the most dominant DNAs. And if I remember the question, they're not necessarily harder to work with. I just believe that it might be a while for the frequency to increase in order to have that better connection. I think one of the ladies said on here before in the chat that, as it's we need to kind of be raising, and as we're raising to that same frequency, then that connection will be even stronger. So Lulabelle, I really don't feel that it's necessarily impossible. I don't feel it's going to be difficult, but because again, you can use that free will and that intention that will kind of, what I'm being told, will slightly bridge the gap. But no, please reach out to me again if you wish, and we can discuss that further. But I hope that answer helps for now.
Laura Lee's just adding in, which I agree, Laura Lee. It's our definition of healer too, Mom. So she is saying, I had this chat on Monday. Healing to me is anything someone does for others or for self that makes others feel better. Music, art, counselors, random acts of kindness, quilts that you give to people, any of those sorts of food that you make for people.
That's beautifully put.
All of those things. Mish is asking, so on a soul level, do we all live a life in each of these different aliens? Do we all live a life?
If I've understood, no. but I'm going to have to pass on that one. I don't quite understand, but I just wanted to say the last comment from Lorelei, that was absolutely beautiful, and I couldn't have put it better. I think that's absolutely lovely. And also, if I could just add one more piece onto that, is sometimes a person's energy within themselves, even being in the this isn't coming from ego at all, but being in the presence of a particular person, sometimes that is healing in itself, because it's that energy exchange. So when like you walk into a room and suddenly you feel really drained, but then you can go and sit with that friend for like 10 minutes and you're like, wow, I feel amazing.
That's right.
So yeah, that whole, and somebody's energy within themselves can also be healing. But no, Lorelei, that was beautifully
It's a
put.
frequency, right? Those places where those people that feel like home, your safe landing spot. It's a frequency that you resonate.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Dan is asking, Asria, are you able to expand on my reading? Alien DNA wise, if you recall. How can she reach out to you? Through Ascension? Through
please reach out again, either through Ascension Through Connection or Asria Beckham at gmail.com.
And on all of the socials, it's Asria.
Any of the socials. Yeah, no, please do.
Is that correct? At Asria Official? On
yes.
socials?
Yeah.
So Mrs. is just clarifying, like, we come on here on Earth to learn lesson. Could we also be a Pleiadian to learn lessons here? And then the next time we have more Lemurian when we incarnate again to learn more lessons here. So can we bring different off-world frequencies each time we reincarnate?
We can bring them now.
Oh. Interesting.
And it's not necessarily bringing them forward. It's being able to tune in. And I would say not necessarily when we reincarnate, because the way in which we're going at the moment is though that we don't necessarily need to come back. But certainly if there are connections that you want to make to a particular race, and there's particular abilities or anything like that.
So I think so, Mish, like are you asking about reincarnating and just deciding that we want to be Lemurian and go to that dimensional frequency and not come back to Earth? Is that Bentley barking at the door?
Yes, he wants in.
Well, let the poor bugger in. Yeah, Mish, I think so, because I've had different guests on when we're talking about reincarnation, and I've always kind of poo-pooed the idea of like that we can come back as a dog, or we can go to wherever the dinosaurs decided to vibrate and go to, and they're like, oh yeah, you can come back as a bird if you want, or you can go to that other planet if you want. We get to make that decision on that soul frequency on where we're going to go to next and why. Yes, agreed, Mish. I see all these as being stepping stones to building a better soul. I don't know about, remembering, right? Remembering all the different parts of us, experiencing what we already know. That's what I also understand, experiencing what we already know.
Yeah, and the word you just said there was remembering, because within, and this is a key part of this, and that really goes along with some of the other amazing work with the 12-strand DNA activation and everything like that, is as if that we are multi-dimensional beings, multi-dimensional souls. So we hold so much potential within us. So when you're saying there about being kind of like a better soul, if I've understood that, it's actually, you know what, there is so much potential that we haven't even yet tapped into. So the work I'm doing is just a portion of potentially a little bit of that blueprint that we can start looking at.
Expanding our awareness and experience.
Yeah. So then there might be another piece of the puzzle of that multidimensionality that we can start tuning into and utilizing. Because I think we are really just at the precipice of really discovering what these souls and what these human bodies can are capable of.
The time, right? Age of Aquarius. Everybody's becoming more aware. That's what I believe.
Definitely.
Mom, do you have any questions or comments that you? Thank you so much for being here. It was pretty good. Wasn't so bad, was it? Do you want to come back?
No.
And look how fast that 2 hours went. You stayed the whole time. I appreciate you and I love you. Thank you so much. Do you have anything that you would like to say before we start shutting down and saying our goodbyes?
No, I don't think so.
It's pretty interesting though, right? So are you going to tune in to listen to Christy and Maya's next week?
I'll see. Maybe. If I'm not quilting.
If you're not quilting, you can quilt and have, you can put this on the TV and make a large screen. Christy's always a fan favorite. Like Christy is, when she comes on, she's a riot. Asria, I'm really excited about you meeting my sister. And I'm excited to hear what is for my sisters. And my niece, when I was talking about people who are fear-based, it was huge for my niece to agree to this because she has, she's had a very strong fear, overwhelming fear about anything to talk about aliens, and that she agreed to be a part of this, I find huge. And that she wants to be a part of the conversation. And I know that I said to her, I would never put her in a position that would be harmful or hurtful to her, right?
I think when you're, but because she's younger, and I think when you're younger, because so did I. I would never have dreamed about watching Ancient Aliens, the show on television, or anything like that when I was younger. I think it just learning and growing as a person.
Yes.
And your attitudes and your feelings change about things.
Because now you're hooked on Secrets of Skinwalker Ranch and watching their security cameras to see if you catch anything flying out of the mesa.
There's a lot happening on Skinwalker Ranch. It's
but there was a time when there was
an eye on her. So I've heard. But I didn't realize that you watched the cameras though. That's interesting.
It's coming on again.
That's really interesting.
So with Skinwalker Ranch, they have the skin. Oh my gosh, I'm having a brain fart about what it is, but it's their website, and so you can join it and be a part of the group. And then they do they have chips and salsa night. They actually have Skinwalker bingo, and they've got all kinds of fun stuff. And you can be part of their when they're playing the shows in the States, which is before us, right, in Canada, then they chat about it afterwards, and you can be part of that after show chat where they give you the behind the scenes conversation, and you can watch from the security cameras that are set up on the property, and you log if you see something happening. So I know that Laura Lee and I are going to be doing a show on Blind. Yes, in about 8 weeks time, we're doing Blind Frog Ranch and Bradshaw Ranch. We're going to talk about Bradshaw Ranch as well too.
Wow, that's fascinating.
So some of these questions, folks, I know that we are just winding down and we don't have time to answer these last little bits of questions that are coming in, but bring those questions back around next week, because Asria is back on again next week, and we are bringing my sister and my niece on to the show. So thank you so much, Asria, for sharing your time, energy, and wisdom and doing this for my mom and I this week. And I look forward to hearing about my sister and my niece's readings next week. Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you, Mom. I appreciate you being here too. Thank you,
Thanks.
everybody in the chat. Thank you, everyone, for making my mom feel so welcome. And I appreciate you sending out all of those good vibes for her. And thank you to Joe Montaldo and Michelle DeRoche for all of the things that you guys do for us here. Thank you to the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 in the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in beautiful New Orleans. I hope everyone has a great weekend, recharges, recoups, relaxes, all of the fun stuff in a safe and a fun way. And we will see you here next week. Good night, everybody. Bye.
Good night.
Good night.